Greetings all, I am Nicholas Moran, also known as the Chieftain, and you are here to listen to the Tanks Encyclopedia entry on the CV90120. The CV90120 is a prototype light tank or tank destroyer that has undergone continuous development since its first appearance in the summer of 1998 at the EUROSATORY Defense exhibition in Paris. However, attempts to mount higher calibered guns on the CV90 can be traced back to 1993, when Hägglunds collaborated with GIAT to make the CV90105 TML, which was equipped with a GIAT Industries TML 105 turret. The initial development on the CV90120 was presumably started by Hägglunds AB and continued when Alvis Ltd purchased the company in 1997. Development continued under the guise of BAE Systems, which acquired Alvis Ltd in 2004, Hägglunds included. The reason behind the development of the CV90120 was to give Sweden an option to equip a lighter vehicle with the firepower of a main battle tank equivalent to the Leopard 2 or STRV-122. Northern Sweden has very few roads and difficult terrain, both during summer and winter, and the CV90 had already been designed with these conditions in mind. This paved the way for the CV90120's addition into the CV90 family, combining extreme mobility with extreme firepower, but at the cost of comparatively light armour. The initial prototype of the CV90120 had a brand new welded turret to accommodate a large caliber tank gun. Externally, the chassis was completely identical to a normal CV90, retaining the same engine, suspension and internal layout. However, it was modified to accommodate the increased weight of a larger turret carrying the larger caliber gun. This prototype vehicle weighed about 20 tons. The vehicle itself has had several iterations across development, stretching from 1998 to 2011. These are distinguished into three major forms, starting with the CV90120 prototype, the CV90120-T marketed vehicle, and later more complex variants like the CV90120 Ghost. The CV90120 prototype was extremely light for its firepower, sitting at 20 tons when empty. The low mass came with several challenges, the most prominent of which was making such a light vehicle stable enough to handle the forces produced by the firing of such a powerful gun. The 120mm gun's origins can be traced back to Switzerland, being a development that was made possible by using steel with increased strength. This also comes as a design challenge to the vehicle itself, as the recoil energy is now transferred to the chassis. The driver is placed in the lower left front of the chassis alongside the engine. The turret has a complement of 3 crew members, consisting of a gunner, a commander, and a loader. The rear of the vehicle, that was originally used for carrying soldiers, has been turned into ammunition stowage. The chosen gun was the CTG, or Compact Tank Gun, 120 50 caliber length smoothbore, a lightweight gun developed by RUAG Land Systems. It was light enough not to hinder the vehicle's mobility and had a low enough recoil force to avoid damaging the vehicle itself. It came with a bore evacuator and a muzzle brake. The gun was designed to accommodate all current and future NATO 120mm ammunition, which were considered more than sufficient to combat threats of the time. The vehicle's elevation or depression limits was -8 degrees to +22 degrees. The muzzle velocity when firing the German-developed DM-33 APFSDS shell was 1,680 meters per second. The new turret also featured a bustle-mounted semi-automatic loader, allowing this light tank a rate of fire between 12 to 14 rounds per minute with an experienced crew. The ammunition is stowed behind a protective wall which separates the crew from the autoloader in case of ammunition detonation, or a cook-off. The semi-automatic loading device was capable of carrying 12 ready rounds, whilst 33 rounds are stowed in the lower rear hull. The turret also features 12 Galix smoke grenade launchers. The fire control system is a Saab UTAAS, Computerized Universal Sight and Fire Control System, accompanied by an Avimo DNGS thermal sight. These provide the gunner with a reliable way of hitting targets with day and night optics and a laser rangefinder. The prototype did not feature any lighter or secondary weapons such as machine guns. The vehicle is designed to have a minimally armoured hull made of steel to accommodate externally mounted modular armour. These armour packs varied heavily, from composite materials to high hardness steel. The vehicle was developed to have applique and armour packs mounted externally, as testing revealed that add-on armour gave better protection per kilo compared to armour steel. However, unfortunately, the thickness of the base armour is unknown. No further information about the protection offered by the add-on armour packages is available. The vehicle commander had access to an early version of the Saab Lemur panoramic sight, which has appeared in multiple iterations over the years. It gave the vehicle commander access to laser range finding and the ability to operate in a hunter-killer mode. The Lemur could also be used as a remote weapon station to give the vehicle a machine gun. The Lemur commander's optics have appeared in multiple variations over its many years of development in different modular compositions and technology levels as development has progressed. It appeared on the first prototype and the updated CV90120T. The gunner's sight provides the gunner with a by 3 or by 10 magnification. The driver's view is almost 180 degrees. The CV90120's engine was a Scania DI-16 800 horsepower diesel engine, giving the vehicle a maximum speed of 70 km an hour on roads and 40 km an hour in reverse. It was designed with excellent mobility in mind, despite its reinforced chassis and newly designed turret. The engine is placed in the front right of the hull, and it functions as protection in the case of penetration from the front, much like the Israeli Merkava design. If needed, the engine could be uprated to accommodate higher horsepower demands, showing a modularity similar to other aspects of the vehicle. The gearbox chosen was an Allison Perkins X300-5 automatic gearbox with 4 forward and 2 reverse gears. The running gear consists of 7 paired road wheels per side with a forward sprocket wheel and a rear idler wheel. The tracks are made of steel with rubber pads. The suspension is torsion bar based with rotary dampers and no return rollers. The vehicle's range is 600 km on a full tank. It would cross slopes with a 60% gradient and has a forwarding capability of 1.5 meters. All of these characteristics have been designed due to the obstacles of the Scandinavian peninsula, where a vehicle might have to go from snowy mountains to muddy wet forests, as the northern terrain varies a lot and the infrastructure there is generally underdeveloped in larger regions. The prototype also worked as a testbed for several different systems for passive protection, including a water vapor dispensing system to clear out any thermal signature externally on the vehicle. By 2001, the vehicle had completed its initial development cycle and left the prototype phase. With BAE Systems purchasing Alvis Ltd in 2004, the development of the vehicle became even more ambitious than before, revealing a vastly modernized CV90120T in 2007 to the international military market. The CV90120T was another development cycle for the CV90120, which focused more on the internals and alternative protection systems to replace the need to add on physical external armour to counter threats. This was defined by a heavy emphasis on electronics and other soft-kill defence systems. The vehicle featured far more advanced electronic systems. These would warn the crew of a shot before it had even been fired and thus increase the survivability of the vehicle. The sensors can detect lasers from hostile laser rangefinders and also detect missiles heading towards the vehicle. The vehicle also features a top attack radar, warning of high-angle munitions that might be a danger to the vehicle. The vehicle also features an advanced battle management system for modern battlefield situations. The vehicle also was improved internally with latest modularity and customization present for potential customers. The CV90120-T could use different types of CV90 chassis from 1988 to today. This means that, whilst initially the weight of the prototype was 20 tons, the development of the chassis and its internals improved by each generation developed by Hägglunds. Today, the vehicle can reach weights of 40 tons without any major repercussions on mobility. Externally, not much changed. The CV90120T received a new type of bore evacuator for its 120mm CTG L50, and the prototype had externally mounted smoke launchers. These were removed when the smoke launchers were incorporated into the sides of the turret bustle, allowing for less external clutter whilst improving external and internal space utilization efficiency. These smoke launchers feature multispectral aerosol grenades. The commander's optics were changed as well. It was an entirely new development from Saab, the Panoramic Low Signature Sight, PLSS, that had the unique feature of not changing its silhouette whilst being operated due to its spherical profile. The PLSS offered complex optics and extended the capabilities of the vehicle commander by giving him a hunter-killer option, effectively allowing him to slave the gun to his optics. The CV90120T could also use later variants of the Lemur Remote Weapons Station instead of the PLSS provided by Saab. Later variants of the CV90120T also received the latest BAE rubber tracks to lower the overall weight of the vehicle. A new active protection system was also unveiled for implementation onto the CV90120T, the AAC, Active Armour Concept. Developed by Akers Stikkebrück, it functions by firing a sensor-activated and directed high-explosive charge towards projectiles to disrupt large-caliber ammunition impacts on the vehicle and acting as a last resort defense if all the preceding systems have failed to protect the vehicle. CV90120T has yet to be procured by any nation, but it did face testing and trials in Poland in 2007 as the Polish Army was seeking to expand its combat capability. This led to the reveal of the PL01 concept vehicle in 2013, based upon what they learned when trialing the CV90120T. The CV90120 is still being developed today. In 2011, BAE Systems appeared at the Defense and Security Equipment International (DSEI) exposition with the newly built CV90120 Ghost. This vehicle had a revolutionary new thermal cloaking system called Adaptive, an active thermal camouflage. It features a hexagonal system mounted to the sides of the hull that can modulate and control its own temperature via electronic programming to mask the chassis entirely or to make different distinct shapes like cars or other environmental factors that would not be considered to be an enemy. The vehicle also features some other new stealth-based changes based on protecting the vehicle against radar detection as well, focusing more on remaining undetected. Due to RUAG ceasing all marketing and production of the previous CTG L50 120mm gun, a new gun was necessary. The choice came to an entirely new gun developed by the German company Rheinmetall. This was the RH120 LLR/47, LLR being light, low recoil, a smoothbore cannon. This gun can be traced back to 2003 as a private development venture from Rheinmetall Weapons and Munitions, desiring a gun that could provide equivalent firepower to the current M1A2 and Leopard 2 tanks, but with a lower weight. Its design can be considered a successful venture by performance, giving up to 44% less recoil as it fires. The gun's fume extractor and thermal shroud have also had their shape modified to decrease the vehicle's signature, allowing improved stealth. The success of this lightweight 120mm gun with equivalent performance to normal MBT guns is also attributed to the steel type used, which was developed to be used with the older Future Tank Main Armament (FTMA) program that aimed to design a 140mm smoothbore gun for the military. As of the writing of this article in June 2020, no countries are looking into trialing or buying the CV90120. Light tanks have always been a debatable topic, as most nations now deem them unnecessary. Hägglunds has attempted to prove that the concept is still viable, and it is possible to hit enemies with speed, firepower, and elude retaliation with the appropriate soft protection levels, but light physical armor. Adding more armor does not necessarily guarantee safety to a vehicle, whereas not being seen in the first place might arguably be the ideal choice in a large number of battlefield situations. The huge investments into the entire CV90120 line of development seem cemented into the BAE Hägglunds dedication to make one of the most advanced light tanks of all time, whereas other nations struggle to make one or simply do not see the point in one, or maybe they just cannot find a good balance when developing one. Nevertheless, the CV90120 is still without any customers and is still being developed. With military doctrines and battlefield tactics evolving every year that passes, there might be a place for the future developments of the CV90120 on the battlefields of the future. BAE Systems will likely be ready for the day that happens.
That's all for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe and hit that bell button. We'll be releasing new videos on the regular. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or Reddit. If you use Discord, there's a link to our community server in the description. And if you would like to help us continue to develop and expand, please consider donating on Patreon or PayPal. All of the funds will be used to help us enhance and design new articles and features for you. Until next time, keep us in your sights.